but there's a biggie tonight at the Coffee Cup in Hamilton, Tim Hortons Field, whatever they call it, the donut box. Bubba O'Neill, sports anchor from CHCH Television Hamilton and host of the Ticats audio. Look at this guy. He's ready to go. Hey, Oski Wee Wee. What's the vibe in town, Bubba? What's the vibe, brother?
Well, it's the biggest game of the year, Rod. I mean, everyone is really excited. The sort of revival of this team post Labor Day has really stirred up the community, and the interest is back there. It was a real tough start to the year. A lot of difficult victories where really they were self-inflicted. But I'll tell you, ever since Labor Day, things have changed. And look, the odds are that the Cats will not make the playoffs. There's a lot of things that got to happen. But I'll tell you, this little 4-game run that they're on has certainly made the back end of the season a whole lot of fun.
Well, yeah, and boy, did we jump into it. We came in hot. It's the Ticats home to the Bombers. Our viewers voted it the game of the week to kick off a Friday night football doubleheader. Winnipeg and Hamilton. Later on, it's the Calgary Stampeders at BC in a must-win game for the Stamps. But it's a must-win game for the Ticats tonight. And I guess just give me the vibe. You're off to a great start with your Ticats garb on. But is it more than a reclamation story for Bo Levi? To go from the written off to the front runner for most outstanding player, that's a hell of a story, man.
Well, it really has been, and Coach Milanovich is really, ever since benching him, basically 6 games ago. But Taylor Powell, in the first quarter of the game that he starts, gets injured, carted off, and you have to go to the hospital due to a serious concussion. And Bo, the difference is, and Coach Milanovich, from the day he was hired, said, "What do I want in my quarterback? The most important thing, don't turn the ball over." And Bo, at the time, was leading the team and leading the Canadian Football League in interceptions. And since then, he's thrown 2 interceptions in 6 games. Right? And he will be, I think he's about 600 yards away from going for the 5,000-yard mark. We'd have to look back in the history books to see the last time a quarterback, including a Zach Caleros winning MOP, has thrown for 5,000 yards. And the interceptions have come down, the touchdowns are up, the victories are up. But I'll tell you this, Rod, the difference to me, and I know you like the man, or you have some differences with the man, is that Chris Jones has turned around this defense. It is amazing to me, with pretty much the same talent, and all due respect to Mark Washington, who was the DC when this team was 15-3. I don't know if the message got old, but the schemes have been completely different. Players are playing much more to their strength, and most importantly, turnovers and sacks are up dramatically. So this team now is really setting up the offense in a lot better way, making it easier for a Bo Levi Mitchell. Instead of starting drives at your own 15-yard line, they're starting drives inside people's territory or, closer to midfield. So this is making it, as the saying goes, complementary football. And it's really been working well in Hamilton. And if this is a message for next year, well, I think, it's a good feeling. But while we're on this little ride right now, it's fun.
Well, okay, let me just walk it back a sec. Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in. He says, "Hey, Bubba, I watch the Ticats podcast on YouTube as much as possible. I love Bubba." From the Puck and Pigskin podcast in Red Deer, he says, "Bo's going to make the end of this Ticat season very interesting." Here's the thing. I thought you were talking about Bo, because I don't like Bo. He doesn't like me. We all know that. It's fine. Jones, I like. I talk to Jones all the time.
Okay.
I'm a Jones guy. You got some big personalities in that locker room, man. You know that? So it's interesting to see them all come together and work towards success. I'm pulling for them. I really am. You said the odds are against them, but you know what? The way this season has gone, I wouldn't be writing anybody off or in with 3 weeks to go in the regular season.
There's no doubt about this. The mediocrity or mushy middle or however you want to call it, parity in the Canadian Football League, it's there. It's happening, and it hasn't just happened now. It's been going on all season long. I'll tell you this. The first game that Chris Jones did come, and it was the week before the Labor Day game and started to make the changes. When they went into Princess Auto Stadium and played the Blue Bombers, that was a 26-23 victory for Winnipeg. And what happened there? They picked off Zach Collaros 3 times and sacked him 3 times. And really, the winning touchdown came on the final drive of the game. Credit to Zach Collaros, put together a nice little 80-yard drive for the win at the gun to win the game 26-23. But in that game, Zach threw for less than 200 yards. And as I said, sacked 3 times, intercepted 3 times. Brady went for about 100. But, things changed. And it was like, holy mackerel. And then from Labor Day on, it's been win, 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 win. I like the way the schedule sets up for Hamilton if they are able to win this. A reminder, the Blue Mobbers have not won in Hamilton since 2017. They've lost 4 straight games here. Who knows what's going to happen tonight? Because after this game, there is Ottawa, who are all banged up, and Calgary, who their season to me is over. So who knows? Who knows what could happen here? Really, if you look at the math, the Tiger Cats could actually host a playoff game if certain things happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could happen.
William Duncan writes in, he says, this might be the tightest season standings in decades. And first, it's just the zaniest season. Things have happened you would have never predicted. I think it's just been awesome, and it's been fun to watch. But I'm gonna swing this around for a second, other than to say I hope the Argos fans and the Ticats fans are enjoying the CFL talk out east, where we're on Game Plus television. You know that, Bubba. I got friends in Hamilton. Yep. They're like, I can't wait for Football Friday. They love Jim Barker on here. They're going to love you on here today. But I also want to talk about the NFL. The Bills this week are not favored. If I got it written here, they're not. They're at Houston in a pick'em, which I have my NFL Deal or No Deal coming up next segment. How big of a punch in the mouth was that for your Bills to lose to the Ravens in the fashion they did last week?
Can I say this, and this is not to be obviously because I'm a Bills homer, but I thought that score really complimented Baltimore. They deserved the victory. But all the things that happened, the 87-yard run by King Henry on the first play of the game, all of that. But I'll tell you, to me, the play of the game, if you want to say the TSN turning point, was actually that weird flea flicker that they tried to make when the Bills had all the momentum and could have made it a 21-18 game, and it ended up being a turnover. Credit to the Ravens. So I think the Bills kind of got in their own head, and their offensive coordinator got, sometimes you see these offensive coordinators just want to get too cute. Just put the ball into the quarterback's hand and let him do his best thing, whether it be running or throwing the passes, which are effective, right? Yes, the Bills did fall behind, but they could have tied that game up really easily. With that said, another tough test. There's going to be the storyline that the national TV networks, ESPN, are milking to death, that there was some kind of schism between Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, and that's what led to the trade. Hey, these are two tremendous football players, and I really like what they've done in Houston. C.J. Stroud is one of the outstanding young quarterbacks in a nice young class of quarterbacks that are playing at a high level right now. I think the Bills can win this game. I think overall they're a better team. They are banged up a little bit on defense. I think they've been challenged a little bit, maybe humbled a little bit by losing. Do you realize that loss by the Bills against the Ravens was the first time in 43 games that they've been defeated by less than 6 points? I don't think a lot of people knew that. So will I expect another tight game? I'll expect a tight game.
Yeah, well, and as I say, the odds have it listed as a pick'em, which in betting terms is too close to call. But there are some beauty games this week in the National Football League. I thought last week was a lot of dogs, to be honest with you. Sunday night primetime, Steelers, Cowboys.
What about last night?
Whoa, what about last night? Kirk Cousins being written off by the Kirk Cousins haters. This is like the year of redemption for everybody. Kirk Cousins comes back in overtime and he's the hero, man. That was a CFL type game last night on Thursday Night Football.
It was CFL in like the early 2000s, like Montreal Alouettes or something, like Calvillo days. Yeah, that was boy. It started out hot, and it just kept going the whole game. And when I thought Kirk Cousins got intercepted with about a minute left, and the fact that the Tampa Bay could not run the clock out or get a first down, and then I thought to myself, oh, my God, the door's open here. And then that you kicking that field goal here? You've been so inconsistent all night long. It's weird. The guy can't kick from 30 to 40 yards or 40 to 45, but anything past 45, he's dynamite as a kicker. It's amazing to watch, especially in an indoor facility where I think he should be making anything from 50 yards and in. But boy, what an exciting game. Really kicked off the schedule, because I feel like these Thursday night football matchups are generally kind of weak, but that was a great way to get this week, or I guess week 5, kicked off.
Everybody says they're weak matchups, and I guess going in, we would have thought an Atlanta-Tampa Bay matchup at Mercedes-Benz Stadium was going to be weak, but you just never know. We talked earlier this week about what do we love about sports. It's any night you go to the stadium or arena or diamond, something could happen you've never seen before, or just have a tremendous game, and that's what happened last night. By the way, who's trying to get a hold of you, Bubba?
I don't know. Someone said probably some upset Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan or a Bombers fan.
I'm going to try and get to the Leafs in a second, but first, in the time we have left with you, I'm just curious to know what your day is like. You're a busy guy. You're anchoring on CHCH. You're hosting Ticats Audio. You got a game tonight. What's your day like, man?
It becomes too busy. So what I have learned is that when the Ticats do play, I just take the day off from being at CHCH. It's just too much to do. As you well know, there's so much in game prep, and certainly when you're doing the pregame show and the postgame show, there's certain elements. Tonight is a big game, actually, for a big home game in terms of events, because it's that night where they put up the Wall of Honor, and Bernie Custis and Mike Walker, the famous pass rusher from back in the 70s and 80s, is going up under the Wall of Honor. Think about the 28th person to go up there, along with Bernie Custis, who was the first black quarterback in all of professional football from back in 1951. So these players are being honored. So a little extra juice to this game in terms of the halftime show. But yeah, it just you want to be sharp. You want to know the storylines. You want to talk to the broadcasters. I'll get down to the stadium, kind of like the players, about 3 hours before. And as you well know, there's something about the live game. And getting there and getting to the facility and, getting to chat with the referees and the coaches and being around and just feeling the game time to get ready for the viewers, because we're on an hour before kickoff. So, yeah, I'll just focus on, that's what I've been doing now, just kind of focusing on game prep and getting ready. And, this way I know what I'm going to say.
Yeah. Who filled Fantuz's spot on your broadcast now that he's working in the command center?
Yeah, Mike Daly, and I'll tell you, he is doing an unbelievable job. And I've been so fortunate to have some of these amazing guys, the former players that were all outstanding on the football field, like Fantuz, who was great with the Riders, and of course the Tiger Cats in his 12 years playing in the league. Mike Daly played safety for 10 years in special teams. Tom Pate Winter is one of the all-time great guys of the league, and of course the Luke Tasker as well too, one of the more underrated receivers for a better part of a decade with the Tiger Cats. Get an RJ Broadhead, who's a Sasky boy as well too, who's the voice of the Tiger Cats. So outstanding broadcast crew and great technical crew, and I think we put together one of the better products in the league. And I think you're starting to see this, Rod, as you understand, as if someone that branched out on your own to do your own kind of thing. The teams are doing this right now. That this is the way of the future, I guess, not just for the CFL, but for all sports, where you have your own network, and it gives you increased access to the players and being able to talk to them on a personal basis, where traditional media, you just don't get the same sort of access and ability to do things. So I really am enjoying working for the team in that sense, but it is fun, especially when you get onto the game days.
Lastly, I mentioned the Leafs. I saw a Canadian Press preview story. Both the writers from the Canadian Press had an Oilers-Leafs Stanley Cup final. Are you jumping on that train?
No way. I mean, too much still yet to be proven in the nets for the goaltendings. Joe Woll, I think, is going to be one of the better goaltenders in the National Hockey League. I think he can have a good career. His history over the last couple of years with the Leafs trying to lean on him has been of injury. The defense is far superior than it has been with the acquisition of Ekman Larsson and Tanev. I think that's really going to improve the back line. for the Maple Leafs, especially in the playoffs. That's when it really does matter. I think we know there's the forward situation. This team can score goals like it's easy. Again, though, but they've got to just get out of their own division. Like Tampa Bay is always, did they lose Stamkos? Yeah, but Tampa Bay has always been in their head. Boston's always been in their head. They lost again to Boston last year. Florida Panthers are the Stanley Cup defending champions. And I think you're going to have much improved play from the Detroit Red Wings, the Ottawa Senators, and especially the Buffalo Sabres. Go Sabres. I love the fact that they brought back Lindy Ruff. Nice 5-1 preseason. And as you know, they're playing the Devils. And they're dropping the puck just about now over in Europe. So I think you're going to see an improved product. This Atlantic Division is something else.
Good stuff, Bubba. Man, you do a great job. Busiest guy I know. Thanks for fitting us in. Great preview. Enjoy the game tonight. Break a leg.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Friday Night Football. It's quite an honor to have the national focus on Hamilton, and let's hope for a good ball game and Oski wee wee to all of you.
Thank you, bud. CHCH is Bubba O'Neill and the host of the Ticats Audio Network.